Hey guys, what's up? It's Eli Knight with Knight Jiu-Jitsu and Aperture, and I want to show you something that I've had a lot of requests about, and it's how to get out from bottom side control. Bottom side control is probably the worst place to be. Side control is arguably one of the most dominant or potentially dominant positions. You can make it really oppressive for the person underneath. If you're underneath it, you know how badly it sucks and you want to just get out of it. So I want to show you, I've covered a few things in the past about getting out of side control from bottom, but I want to show a lot of things, a lot of different things. And it's not that these are, again, this is my standard disclaimer, it's not that these are options like you could do this or this or this, whatever you feel like. It's based on the energy he's giving you, the spaces that he's giving you, and that's what really determines what technique you're going to use. So if there's multiple options, it's not options from the same thing, same energy, it's options from you experiencing different pressure, different energy, you see different openings, and that's what's going to facilitate your escape. So I'm going to use a big, strong, heavy dude, and so Jeremy is going to get top side control on me like this, and his top side control can be configured a lot of different ways. If he gets underneath my head and he's like this here, this is really miserable. From here, I'm very limited in my options, so this is a pretty good place to start. How do I keep my hands? I don't like for my hands to be here like this, and he's gonna start isolating an arm, he's gonna start attacking me. So I wanna get this wrist bone here. Some people concentrate on the forearm, but that's a little haphazard. I wanna be specific. Wrist bone here into his hip and wrist, and slide underneath. Don't try to go like this around. I wanna go underneath here and put my other wrist bone in his throat, so that the more he presses, the more he's pressing his throat into my wrist. It makes it a little miserable for him. I don't want to be flat like I am now. This is not a good look for me, so I want to get up on my side. I start that from my hips. I tilt my hips this way here. This leg goes flat. Why? Sometimes you can do this to defend against the mount, but I'm not doing that on purpose. I'm leaving this as an opening because I know if he takes that opening, I can facilitate an escape too. First thing I want to try to do is, if I can make the space, then I want to try to bridge a little bit, make space here, and shoot to replace my guard. What I like to do, since this was underneath my head, is keep that attached here, pry this open like that, and then work out to replace guard from there. Okay, so that's one that I can do. Again, like if we're here and I don't have that option, if I don't have the ability here to be able to frame, push and bridge, then sometimes I'm forced to wait. But if I'm ready, whenever I'm waiting for him to like try to go to mount or something, if he slides his knee across like he's going to mount, I'm gonna pick up the trailing leg, so keep going. He's gonna clear the other leg, and I'm gonna pick up the trailing leg here and just do like a little halfway elbow escape. So I capture him in half guard. From my half guard, then I can work back and try to replace guard from there. Okay? So sometimes just creating that bridge here and allowing him to pass over and then capture the trailing leg. Let's look at that one more time. So he goes here, he starts to slide that knee across. Right? That knee is not my concern. This leg here is my concern. So we go here, I push the leg down between mine, I hook here like this to stabilize. That's also going to create my platform to be able to help me shrimp out to the side here. And then I look to replace, maybe even isolate this arm to start attacking it. Okay? So those are a couple of common things to get me out of side control. I would prefer not to allow him, when he's coming in like this, to get this underneath my head. My biggest thing, that if my guard gets past, and I hope it doesn't, but if it gets past, I'm trying to isolate this arm. So if he's pressing into me and he's trying to get this underneath me, I'm keeping that away from me. So if I can, I want to keep like a 90-degree bend in my arm, and this arm pushed against him more than against me. And I'm still here framing against his neck like that. So then I can still work to replace my guard this way. The other thing that I can do from here too is maybe this can help me to create space like this, and then work an uphill escape. An uphill escape works like this here. I make distance between us, I frame, I create a space, and then this is going to go from branch up to branch down to the far side. Once it goes branch up to branch down like this, I take my bottom leg, thread underneath, and then get up to here. So I kind of shoot myself out the back door. Now I'm here in this kind of turtle position underneath him. From there, I can pick the legs, start attacking, maybe even get like a little short double leg. What it looks like without him on top of me is I'm pressing the arm, I'm framing the neck here, I bridge or shrimp to create space. I go from branch up to branch down, and I thread the leg at the same time. I go here, this way, up, push my butt back, rather than trying to push him forward, because if he has base, I'm not gonna move him. I try to move him as much as I can. I move me the rest of the way. I wind up in this kind of turtle position, and then immediately I shoot back for his legs. So let's look at that one more time. We get here, I'm blocking his arm from getting underneath my head. I'm framing against the neck here. I may have to bridge. I may be able to just shrimp. I may have to do both. Whatever it is, I get distance between my hips and his hips. I go from branch up to branch down. I kick this leg through here, go underhook deep like this, get to the legs, pick, and drive over that way. So I like that one because it takes me from bottom and gets me to top rather than just replacing my guard, right? Now, another one I've showed a couple times in other videos, but it's worth repeating again because this is kind of my go-to if I have one, if I can make it happen. So what I do is try to keep this arm from getting underneath me like this. If he gets tired of trying to get underneath my head, sometimes he'll like to throw the arm to the other side here, like that. Okay? So when he goes to do that, here, he throws the arm to the other side. I frame here, I can X block, or I can just go frame like this. Get right on the inside, above the elbow, right around the tricep tendon like this here. And then look, I turn this way, and I think like I'm gonna do kind of like a kettlebell Turkish get up here. But I'm gonna push his elbow this way here, like I'm gonna put him on my lap. I get to seated position, put him on my legs, and then come up to top like that. Okay, so one more time. He's coming in. I'm keeping his arm out from underneath my head like this, keeping my head away. He goes to throw the arm to the other side. I frame, I push here, and come up to the top position. That one works for me more often than most any of my other escapes personally. Again, if I have a guy that gets underneath me and he's very heavy, he's very oppressive, I may just have to replace my guard and then work from there to get back up. Talking about escaping side control, then we have to talk about the variations of side control, and scarf hold is one of them. And this is a broken scarf hold where he's underhooking the far side. So how am I gonna try to do this? Personally, I like to try first thing is as soon as he gets to here, because a lot of times this will be after a pass, or he'll modify his standard side control. Let's go back to standard for a second. He'll go from standard side control and then sit out to go here. Yes. I know that looks too simple, but it actually does work. If your timing is on point, when he goes to sit from side control out to scarf hold, then you can just topple him right over like that. So we're here. The big thing is I can't allow him to wrap this arm really tight around his body as he switches out, like that. So what I'm doing is whenever I feel like he wants to fish for that arm like that, then I use this hand to create space and get my hand free. Then, if he still tries to go to sit out to go to scarf hold, I push his bicep this way, swivel my legs out from underneath, and then I get top side control on top of him here. Now, what about if he's more standard scarf hold? A standard scarf hold instead of a broken scarf hold looks like a headlock. That's all it is. It's essentially just a headlock. So same thing may apply, but then there's also different considerations. He goes headlock. So if he sits out to this kind of scarf hold here, this kind of more traditional standard scarf hold, then I'm going to treat it similarly to how I would treat a headlock defense. In which case I'm taking the arm from behind him and I'm making a frame here like this, 1 and 2, grabbing my wrist to reinforce it, not my hand, not leaving my fingers open. I'm grabbing, making fist, grabbing wrist, getting up on my side, and then shrimping away and pushing and driving like this here. If I need to, sometimes I can just sit up here and I'll have the escape, but if I need to, I'll take the back leg, take it over his head, push, and then work out here into a leg scissor here for the choke, right? And I also have a possibility for Kimura. If for some reason I'm not getting the leg scissor choke here, I can maybe switch back and right to the top and then sit across for Kimura. If from here, he's hanging on really tight, I don't get him to break his grip here, like this, yeah, so he's hanging on, and I don't get him to push over like this here, right? So then I'm gonna do the same kind of thing, like this. I'm gonna push as much as I can, straighten the arm out like that, try to get the leg over his head. But since he's not gonna break, I'm just gonna use the momentum created by getting the leg over to rise up to top position like this. Once I get to the top position, I don't want to get greedy and throw over to the mount right away and have him just roll me. I want to stabilize here first, and then I want to clear the leg here, go to this kind of technical mount, and if I need to frame to get rid of that, then fine, and then I can go to the arm lock, take the back, whatever he gives me. We're speaking about side control and its variants, and another variation of side control would be knee on belly. I would still put that in the same kind of umbrella of top side positions. So how do we escape knee on belly, which can be in its own right, a very oppressive position. He can make a lot of weight, make it really difficult for me underneath that knee, really squish me, and he's very mobile too. And at any time, if I mess up, he can transition over to mount, he can go back to side control, he can stand up. So how do I get out from underneath this position? I have a couple of different options that I would like to kind of talk about. Aside from just kind of the basic concept of when he gets knee on belly like this here, of pushing off and getting the knee to the floor, or shoving it down and going into half guard, or replacing my guard, I want to show a couple that get me to a little bit more of a top position. So one that I like a whole lot here, depending on how his hands are going, I'm going to dish my hips out to kind of turn and face him. As long as I'm careful with my hand, I can push down here by his hips. Now I have a pocket of space where I insert my top leg here, my shin toward his bicep. I slide down to the wrist. I grab his pant here or just C-clamp the leg. And then I'm not trying to pull him across me. I'm actually scooting my hips underneath him here, this way. Then I can transition to top side maybe leg drag, something else. So let's look at this one more time. He goes here, top, knee on belly position, like this. Oh, this is miserable. I don't want to be flat on my back like this so he can squish me. So I get as much as I can up on my side. If I just create that angle, I have a good angle to bring my knee in, right in that pocket right there. There's a nice triangle. So I'm going to make one little quick pop, get my knee inside, slide down to the wrist, grab the pant or C-clamp the leg. Don't pull him across, instead scoop my hips this way underneath him. Look how he floats like that. Come up, maybe I get my knee on belly. Another possibility here, I do this whenever I'm trying to avoid him getting my collar or reaching underneath my head. I want to try to keep this framed in so he's not allowed to do that. He's not able to do that. As I'm doing that, if I can really get up on my side, then there's a pocket, there's a big space underneath him. Whenever there's space, there's opportunity. So that's what I want to look for. I see this space underneath here like this. So I get up on my side. I'm framing here in case he's trying to get underneath my head. I'm going to take my outside arm and my outside leg and connect them underneath him here. I reach my arm in nice and deep. I grab that outside leg and pull it underneath him like this, here. This hooks his leg here. And then if I can get a secondary grip, that's great. If not, I can sometimes just I have plenty of leverage here to be able to scoop my hips that way, here, and then sweep from there, okay? Different ways I can come up from this position. I can use this leg to help kick across, come up to like a leg drag position there. Here, knee on belly. There's a gap of space underneath him, obviously. So I want to increase that space just a little bit, and just for a second. First, I frame here so that he can't be too pressuring on the side of my face. I go here, I frame like this. I reach my arm from the outside, inside here. I pick up my leg. I pull my leg behind his other leg here. Look how I've got this wrap. This is kind of hard to see, but if you pull your leg through, you'll feel it. I hook behind his leg here. I grab the top pant here or here. Make the sweep, kick, come up like that, okay? When each of these can be modified to account for different strikes, whether they're punches, knees, elbows, kicks, headbutts, anything. I just have to have positional awareness, and that's also why contextually you have to train in a number of different kind of situations. So we're training in here in the gi tonight. We're leaving the strikes out of the situation so that we can really focus primarily on position, and submission opportunities and how to transition in and out of those. So that's our foundation. That's the biggest infrastructure of the whole game. But we'll also come in here and we'll pop the gis off. We'll throw on some 4-ounce gloves or maybe some big gloves, and we'll try to wail on each other in the process too. Sometimes we'll come in here and he'll play the guy that doesn't know anything about jiu-jitsu and he just wants to punch me the whole time. Sometimes we both play like that. We're both technical grapplers, but we can also strike. So the context just matters like that. That's a lot about side control from underneath, getting out of it. I hope you guys keep watching. Check out Aperture's got a lot of great content coming. Keep watching. Check out more stuff on my Jiu-Jitsu channel. Night Jiu-Jitsu on Instagram, Night Jiu-Jitsu on YouTube. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you, Sean.